Bit of a difficult video to make today. Today's the last day I'm going to be in possession of my Western HTS, you know. It's got some sentimental value now that it's been with me maybe 5 or 6 years, but yeah, time to move on. If you're curious why I'm stopping plowing, I kind of explained it in one of the last few videos, but I'm buying a house now, and I only have a couple accounts, and for me to buy the liability insurance to cover myself, which of course, you know, if I'm investing my entire life savings and all my assets into this house, you know, God forbid I nick a gas line or something, and you know, something sparks up and I blow somebody else's house up, I don't want to be sued for everything I have. So you know, you have to have liability insurance, and just the cost of the liability insurance outweighs any potential profit. So you know, I may make a little bit of money, I may lose a little bit of money, so it really doesn't make sense. And to be honest, I'm not really happy with the Chevy. There are some things which you guys have suggested to do to that to make the truck shift a bit better, like changing out the fluid, which I would like to do that, you know, after I move into the new house. But I don't want to mount it on the truck because I'm just not happy with the truck, and I would like to let it go down the road. So my plan is I'm going to sell this, and I'm going to buy a snowblower and just do my driveway, and that'll be that. But before I conclude the last video with my plowing it, I do want to talk about one flaw with this plow, which my older viewers will hopefully remember a video a while back in which I tried to correct this, but there's still a minor design flaw with my plow, and I don't know if it's with all Western plows or all snow plows in general, but I do have an idea for the fix, so let's get into it. Alright, so we're currently looking at the cutting edge right now, and where I felt this plow has always been lacking is support for the cutting edge. Now, if I go around to the side here, you have this big, thick, heavy-duty blade, which this is maybe 3 inches thick here, and it only sits on this flange right here, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So I felt like this was never really braced up enough. I mean, they do have a couple of gussets here, but there really aren't that many, and as you can see, I've actually added quite a few. I actually just counted these, and there's 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You know, 6 gussets to really support this cutting edge I felt was inadequate. So I added 1 here. So that'd be, I added a 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So now there's 10 gussets on here, and that really corrected the issue. But there's also another issue as to why this is happening. Let me flip the plow up and show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so we're looking at the moldboard from the side here. Now, if you look at the cutting edge, see how the cutting edge doesn't follow the contour of the moldboard? It's kind of set back some. And part of that is just from years of using it and from this really not being engineered well enough. But you know, people always comment that, oh, well, what do you expect? You know, it's a half-ton plow, you know, you're doing commercial work in. You know, I do agree with that to an extent, but I really feel that there was never really enough support here for this cutting edge. So because there's really not enough support, what happens is you'll be plowing, and when you're plowing forward, of course, that puts a lot of force on this cutting edge, forcing it, or well, it wants to kind of go back. And the only thing that prevents it from going back is these bolts. But also what happens is, you know, you'll be pushing snow, and there'll be dirt, gravel, bits of debris, sand. And what happens as this cutting edge is wanting to push back, those bits of debris and dirt are coming up in this little crack right here. And then they find their way in between this flange and the cutting edge. And as debris fills up in there, that just kind of forces this cutting edge to kind of straighten out and kind of turn back as opposed to being more aggressive. And if you look along this cutting edge here, you can actually see a bunch of sand and dirt in there. And it actually gets pretty bad in the middle. It spaces off maybe 1/8 of an inch in the center there, which this year, if I was going to keep this plow, I really wanted to take this cutting edge off and clean all this stuff out of there. And that would help to reset the cutting edge to follow the contour of the moldboard. Something I would suggest you do in the future, for any of you guys that have Western plows, is put a bead of caulk in here. So, you know, if you already have some debris collecting up in here, take off your cutting edge and lay a bead of caulk in here or something like that. Silicone, probably silicone, because silicone I think is more designed for wet environments. And what that will do is that'll help prevent any kind of debris and rocks and dirt from getting up in between the cutting edge and the mold board, and that'll help keep that cutting edge at the proper angle. Did you think I'd actually give up my winter equipment markers? Not a chance. I'll give these guys cheap ones. If they want to buy their own winter equipment markers, well, by all means, not getting mine.